How's it going, everybody? Chuck Holton here, and I am in Abu Dhabi today, and I just have a few minutes, but I wanted to talk to you about some sort of breaking news that's going on out of the war in Israel. Very interesting stuff happening here, and I'm on my way to Armenia, but I'm going to stay on top of this stuff and keep bringing you updates as we get them. I appreciate you joining with us. If you don't have time for a long form live broadcast like I'm doing here, or if you miss it, I will be doing the 2-minute updates as much as I can while we are in Armenia to give you a quick rundown of the day's events in Israel, because I know many of you wanted to follow that. And a lot of people are getting a lot of good feedback about those 2-minute updates. So let's talk about the breaking news here about Yahya Sinwar. First of all, we've been hearing that the ceasefire talks have been sort of stalled because there's just way too much daylight between the Israelis and Hamas on the talks. What they have agreed to do, basically Hamas is saying, listen, we agree to what the what the Biden administration came up with back, a month and a half ago, but with no changes by anybody. That's because, like I said at the time, that ceasefire agreement, which Biden claimed was the idea of the Israelis, which it was not. He then immediately said, this is the Israelis' idea, and they better accept it, or else. It's like, if it was their idea, they of course would have accepted it. We knew it wasn't their idea. The Biden administration came up with it. We also knew it wasn't the Israelis' idea because it essentially required Israel to lose the war. And that, is a no-brainer. That's not going to happen. The Israelis are not going to agree to that. So the ceasefire negotiations have not been going well. We heard some rumblings last week from the Biden administration that they didn't think it was going to be possible to get a ceasefire, at least not before the election, which is really that's what the Biden administration is going for. They need some sort of, ceasefire to campaign on. They don't really care about the war ending. They just want there to be a ceasefire so that they can say that they're the ones who did it. And now, for its part, the Israelis are saying, listen, we are open to talking about a ceasefire, but it cannot include us losing the war. We have to be able to accomplish our objectives, which is to depose Hamas. That is, they can no longer be in control in the Gaza Strip. And so the breaking news is that at the same time that Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said this week that Israel would eliminate Sinwar and his brother Mohammed through, military means, at the same time, the point person for Israel's efforts to free the hostages, his name is Gal Hirsch, said to Bloomberg during a visit to Washington that he was, quote, ready to provide safe passage to Sinwar, his family, whoever wants to join him. He said, he added, we want the hostages back. We want demilitarization, de-radicalization, of course, a new system that will manage Gaza. So what he's saying is that they are willing to actually grant Sinwar safe passage out of Gaza if they will return the hostages. This is new. This is new information. And it's kind of surprising because that's almost 180 degrees opposite from what Yoav Gallant just said and what Netanyahu has been saying the entire time, that they are not going to back down. Now, you could say, okay, this is fine. It's all well and good for them to say they will let Yahya Sinwar leave, but they can just track him down later and eliminate him somewhere else. They certainly had no problem doing that with Ismail Haniyeh and many others. all going all the way back to even before the 1973, what was that, 73 Munich Olympic Games. It took years for them to track down all of the people that were involved in the kidnapping and murder of all those Israeli athletes during the Olympic Games. But they tracked them all down and deleted all of them. And so they certainly are not averse to doing that. And it might be sort of a wink and a nod, like, oh, sure, we'll let you leave Gaza. You want to leave Gaza? You can get a running start. You're just going to die tired, and so perhaps that's what he's saying. But this is a departure from what we've heard out of the other wings of the government so far. Now, this guy's job is to get the hostages released. He is the hostage. What's his name? What's his actual title here? Let's see. His actual title is hostage release coordinator. And so I guess maybe he just decided he was going to say that and try to move things along a little bit. I don't know. But now there's been some question about whether or not Yahya Sinwar was even still among the living, because we haven't heard from him in a long time. But we did actually hear a rare statement that came out ostensibly from him just yesterday. It was a congratulation for Algeria's new president after he was declared the winner of their recent elections. And the statement from Sinwar stressed that he was happy that the new president of Algeria supported the Palestinians in their Al-Aqsa flood. This is what they call the attacks of October 7th. And that's basically what sparked this whole war. So he also said that the Palestinian people and their resistance are fighting heroically while lashing out at the occupation for its barbarity, which is pretty rich coming from somebody who perpetrated October 7th. Calling anybody else barbaric is pretty rich coming from Sinwar. Cindy Hurd says, can Sinwar go through the tunnels to Egypt? There are not, I don't think there are many tunnels left going between Gaza and Egypt right now. The Israelis control the whole Rafah corridor. They found 150 tunnels in that area. Not all of them went under the border, but at least 50 of them did. And all of those have been, neutralized in one way or another. So no, he probably cannot, unless there are tunnels that the Israelis haven't found yet, which is always a possibility. There's not a good likelihood that he could sneak into Egypt. Do they have any idea where he is now? Sheila Ann asks. Yes, they believe he's in the Han Yunis area in a tunnel somewhere. And that's why they're working hard to find him in that region. Now, one other interesting note that just came out is that they found a letter in Han Yunis from, it's a document. This was revealed by Yoav Gallant today. He says the document was written by the former commander of Hamas's Han Yunis brigade. His name is Rafa'a Salameh. And it was addressed to Yahya Sinwar and his brother Muhammad. And in the document, the commander describes the difficult situation the terror group is in. He says, quote, please consider the following. We maintain the remaining weapons and equipment as we have lost 90 to 95% of our rocket capabilities. We've lost some 60% of our personal weapons. We've lost at least 65 to 70% of our anti-tank launchers and rockets. And most importantly, we've lost at least 50% of our fighters between those who are martyred and wounded. And now we are left with 25%. So I'm not sure how maybe he's just not good at math, but I think what he means to say there is they've lost 50% of their fighters martyred and another 25% wounded. Usually it would be more than that. I mean, the normal ratio in a war is that you have 3 wounded for every 1 killed. But in this case, because of the lack of medical care, et cetera, the lack of the fact that they even care about life, So they probably don't even try to save people that are, shot or whatever. That probably means that it is closer to that. It wouldn't be surprising that more people were martyred than wounded, right? I'm trying to be careful about my language here so that I don't get demonetized. So this is a document directly from a Hamas commander saying that they have been very badly degraded. Their military capabilities are getting pretty low. And that means that Israel's winning. Israel's, all they need to do is keep going on this course, and they may actually be able to degrade Hamas to the point where they are no longer any kind of threat to the Israeli state. He says this guy who wrote the document shows he was killed. His name is Salome. He was killed in an IDF strike in July and is crying out for help of the Sinwar brothers, but of course they cannot save him. This is from Gallant saying this. So very interesting document that gives you kind of a window into how badly Hamas has been hurt so far in this conflict. And look, the more information we get that shows that Hamas is suffering and that they're being degraded, the less chance there is for a ceasefire deal, because Israel doesn't have a motivation. If they're winning, if the pressure that they're putting on Hamas is actually having the desired effect, then they don't want to stop doing that. They don't want to let up on Hamas. They want to keep pushing until they win. And this is the only way to actually win, is they've got to push hard enough that Hamas will actually agree to give up. See, a second half of what the hostage coordinator, what's his name again? No, that's Yahya Sinwar. Oh, they're kicking us out. We're on our way out. We'll come downstairs in about 10 minutes. So Gal Hirsch, the second half of that is that he says we are willing to give Yahya Sinwar safe passage out of Gaza. However, the conditions are that they have to completely give up all the remaining hostages, and they have to agree to give up their control over Gaza, which is kind of a non-starter for Hamas. I mean, that goes 180 degrees against what Hamas has said all along and what they are still saying. And so it might be sort of a, I don't know, semantics. It might just be a gesture that they know Hamas is not going to take them up on, because the conditions for that gesture are that it's a bridge too far for Hamas to get to. So could you turn up the volume of your microphone a little bit? Well, a lot of noise around you. I'm sorry to hear that. I can try. That's the most I can do right there. So I don't have a ton of time. Let's see. Yeah, so Yahya Sinwar would like to go to Qatar and live out his days as Ismail Haniyeh was doing as a billionaire, but he would have to abandon his people to do it. So that's not likely gonna happen. So Vape King says YouTube ads burn me up. Well, you just have to get YouTube Premium, and then you don't get the ads. Hot Zone, can you give me donation info again? It's not in the link anymore. You can go to, okay, yeah, Connie took care of that. Do they have, okay, so any other questions real quick? I've got to run because we've got to go to the airport here in just about 5 minutes. We got to leave, but I wanted to give you this quick update on what's happening, because that is some sort of breaking news. And the fact that they're even mentioning or even talking about the idea of giving Yahya Sinwar safe passage out of Gaza is information we haven't had before. Okay? So let's continue to pray for Israel. Let's continue to pray that this conflict will end soon. If you have questions you have directly for me, you can contact me at hotzoneholton@gmail.com. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be putting out more of the short form and the long form lives as we go along. We're going to be in Armenia for the next 10 days, and so you'll get some more information from there. Chick Tracy, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And how does my body adjust to all this travel? I do lots of jetting and not a lot of lagging. So I'm just going to sleep when I can. I sleep really well on airplanes, so that helps me a lot because I arrive at wherever I'm going well rested, since I sleep on the airplane all the time. And I can sleep easily on the airplane because nobody can get a hold of me. So before I go, I just want to show you the view from my room here in Abu Dhabi, because it's a real pretty view. Let me open the curtain here. Check this out. Let's see here. That is some very, very expensive real estate out there, and super hot. It is super hot. I don't know how anybody ever survived in this area before they had air conditioning. Pretty crazy. All right. Well, that's all I've got for today. I got to run. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting the podcast. Please like and subscribe. Like I said, go to chuckholton.com and you can subscribe over there. I'm putting up more videos and documents and stuff over there I can't show you here on YouTube. So go over there and check that out. chuckholton.com.